Okay, welcome in everybody that's joining us tonight for our PSAA Presents cooking class featuring the SCA network. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. So take this extra time to get your ingredients ready. Make sure you've got everything set up. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or use the Q&A, and we'll be sure to answer all of your questions tonight. We also want to make sure everybody knows that we do have closed captioning available. If you're joining us via Zoom, you can use the closed caption button at the bottom of the Zoom window. Or if you're watching on Facebook, we've put the link to the custom captions in the Facebook event description. Welcome in. We've got a great group joining us. You can use the chat to tell us where you're tuning in from or where you'll be cooking tonight. We'll get started here in just another minute or two. It's awesome. We've got some from Lancaster, Pittsburgh. Thanks for being with us tonight. Queens, New York, Boalsburg, DC, North Carolina, Bluebell. I love seeing where everybody is tuning in from. State College, PA. We've got Maryland represented. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're so happy tonight to be partnering with the SCA network. You'll hear more about them throughout the event. We'll make sure that we include the links so that you can connect with them online and learn more about this awesome group that's working to engage Penn State alumni. And now I'm so happy to introduce Jhan D. She's a wonderful, I'm going to say, friend and volunteer for us. This is definitely going to be the quietest it'll be throughout the night, as she's going to fill your kitchens with some laughter, I'm sure. She is a 1994 and 2001 alum. She's a nonprofit executive, professor, mental health counselor, community board leader. The list goes on and on, but tonight she's here to lead you through a Southern style tailgate cooking class and tell you more about the SCA network. So please take it away.
Thank you, Melanie. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to see all the cool places where people are joining us. So welcome to my kitchen and the C Network kitchen. So around here, ASAP does not mean as soon as possible. It means as Southern as possible. So tonight, we're going to do some great dishes that you can bring to your next tailgate. And we'll start with a couple. So the first one we'll start with is my yummy barbecue chicken tartlets. These are something that you could bring, make ahead of time, put in a container, and bring out to Beaver Stadium while you're standing out there, hopefully not in the rain again, like we all were on Saturday. And eat these, or you can just have them at the house. If you're having people over, you can just pop them in. The next thing we'll do is my Penn State blue crab dip. This is a little bit more on the higher end, a little fancier, but still a great appetizer to bring to your tailgate as well. And I'm going to also show you how I package it and present it. So that's a good thing. And then we'll end with my Praline Pecans, which are a great snack that I like to have not only at a tailgate, but if I'm sitting around watching TV or just hanging out. They're also great to give as a gift, and we'll talk about that. And I'm joined tonight by my amazing C Network team. So you'll get an opportunity to meet all of them as we go through tonight. As I cook today, just remember two things. One, you're going to get all of the step-by-step to what I'm doing tonight. So don't worry if while you're watching me, you're like, I don't remember what she did at that particular step. It's okay, you'll get that. So don't worry about that. You'll have your ingredient list. Now you'll see I have a couple of measurements for certain things. I'll talk about that. A lot of what I'll do for you today, you'll see that you can kind of tweak it to the way that you like. Keep in mind that this is about what's good for your palate and what makes sense. So you may want to add a little more of something or a little less of something or a totally different something. It's on you. So just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is work on our barbecue chicken tartlets because they have to bake in the oven for a little bit of time. So we want to make sure we get those in fairly quickly. And I've got some cool shortcuts for you. So first shortcut is good old puff pastry dough. So when you get your puff pastry dough, it's in the frozen section. So your first task would be to defrost your puff pastry dough. So the first thing you want to do is just take it out. It needs to sit, my friends, almost like 40 minutes to an hour, even before you actually do your dish. And it's going to come out like this. The cool thing is, I don't know if you can see it because of my lighting, it's covered in flour already, which is great. So I have a pan here that I've already greased and floured already. So all I'm going to do is take the dough with my very clean hands that I've already done. And I'm literally just taking it here and unfolding it like so. And you're going to end up with three kind of rectangles, if you will, here. So your next task would be to just simply cut through here. And I'm going to show you that. And you could literally just cut down the middle. And it's already got lines in it. I'm like, I love when people think of things that are like shortcuts and we didn't even have to talk to them about doing it. But the lines are already there. So you can make sure that it's kind of nice and even. And as you can see, I'm just doing this with a fork. I'm not even using a knife because I'm going to use this fork again in a minute. So you're going to cut in between there. And you see how I got the three individual parts? So we're going to take this now. I'm going to show you in a minute what's going to happen with these. I'm going to put these aside. Now, next, my next favorite shortcut. Honestly, I could do a whole show just on the things you can do with the rotisserie chicken from your local grocery store. Come see us again. So this, my friends, is just pulled rotisserie chicken from a local grocery store. So this is all of the white meat of the chicken that has just been separated off the bone and pulled to the side. So you'll have your chicken and a couple of different things that we want to do with this. Now, for each dish that we'll cover today, I want you to be thinking about what is the main ingredient for each particular dish. The reason why we want to focus on that is because everything else that we put with the main ingredient is designed to elevate the flavor of that ingredient. So if there are things that you put in your dish and they don't elevate what the main ingredient is, it's just extra. And you end up with this kind of muddled almost taste where you're like, I wonder what this is. Is it chicken? Is it beef? Is it what? That's because your flavor palette's kind of muddled because it's a whole bunch of tastes in there that kind of don't elevate the main ingredient. So for today, as you can imagine, for this particular dish, our main ingredient is our chicken. So the different things that we're going to use tonight, including using puff pastry, is all designed to kind of elevate and enhance that real chicken taste and flavor. Now, I say we're gonna do barbecue, and this is Southern. Now, depending on where you're from in the South, there are all kinds of different barbecue sauces, depending on whatever region you're from. Now, most of us actually just use a Kansas City flavored profile for barbecue sauce, which usually starts with a ketchup base and some brown sugar or molasses add. So it's got that honey, sweet taste to it. But if you're from the Carolinas, you got some vinegar in there. Kansas City also, you'll see some of that nice rub. My dad is an amazing barbecue chef, and among other great things that he cooks. And he makes a dry rub that's to die for. So you have that. You also have those folks in Alabama that have the white barbecue sauce. So tonight, we're just gonna use a basic ketchup and brown sugar barbecue sauce. So you can either buy yours on whatever flavor profile you want or like, or you can just make it. And it's 1 part ketchup, 1 part brown sugar. So we're gonna take that and literally pour it into our chicken mixture. This is about like roughly
Dawn,
a cup. Yes.
we have a question. If someone's using a pie crust, how should they proceed instead of the puff pastry?
Great question. So if you're decided to use a pie crust, really kind of similar, you can just take it and roll that pie crust dough out and just make those 3 slices like I did, and you should be fine.
Great, thank you.
That's a great question. I sometimes have used pie crust as well for this dish, and it totally works just fine. Okay, so we've now put in our cup or so of barbecue sauce. Now let's add a couple of other things again to really kind of enhance that flavor. So I'm a big fan of green onions. It gives you a little bit of crunch. You get that onion flavor, but it's not like too overpowering. So just a couple, I've just taken about maybe 3 sprigs of a green onion and just diced it a little bit. So you'll see the dice here, not too heavy and also not too much. This is about maybe a teaspoon or so of green onion in there. And then a little bit of garlic powder. Again, just to elevate that flavor just a little bit. Again, not too much. I kind of do it a little bit to my taste and liking. Now, I tend to really like anything with pastry and a little bit of cheese. So I'll put a little bit of that in there as well. Now, I think there's a question about green part versus white part, right? On the green onion. I tend to only use the green part for this. The white part also has good flavor. It's not as strong, it's not as pungent as the green part of the green onion or the scallion. So you'll sometimes see recipes or dishes that will separate those 2 pieces. But good question. Okay, over here, I decided to throw in just a little bit of cheese. This is Colby Jack mix. This is an optional thing, so it may not even be on my ingredient list for you, but you can just put in just a little bit of this cheese mixture. And then that way, when people open up that tart, they have a little bit of the sauce and cheese coming out. Pretty good. Okay, so we've got all of those ingredients in. And now we're just going to give it a nice little stir. And while I'm mixing this up, Melanie, do we have any other questions?
We don't have any other questions right now, but to our attendees in Zoom or on Facebook, if you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat or comment on Facebook, and I'd be happy to share them with our chef.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so I am blending in here the chicken mix with the barbecue sauce, the cheese, and our green onion. Now, our oven has already been preset to 325. So that's all ready to go. And got that pretty well incorporated. We don't want to like over mix it because I actually like kind of nice pieces for this to just kind of sit and be together. If you want to do a gluten-free option, you could do a couple of things. You can take just the chicken, and you don't even have to do it in a puff pastry. I've actually just put the chicken in like a cupcake tin, actually, and just baked it. And it actually kind of holds a little bit of a shape, surprisingly. If you need a binding agent so that it all kind of sticks together, you can actually use chickpea juice, the juice from a can of chickpeas, and it'll actually serve as a nice little binding agent. So it kind of mimics almost egg, if you will. So if you mix that in, it actually does a nice job. Okay, temperature of the oven, my friend, is 325. Okay, so next we've got this all kind of mixed together a bit, and we're gonna bring back our puff pastry shell. And we're going to take a little bit of the chicken mixture on my spoon, and we're going to put it kind of right in the center of the shell. So if you see that, it's kind of just right in the middle here. And I would say I'm using a cooking spoon, but this is about 2 tablespoons full of the mixture. Now you don't want too much of this because it'll kind of come easing out a little bit. So that's one thing. Okay, yes, we can rename this to Beaver Stadium Tarts, absolutely. Okay, so next up, oh, let me do them on these other two so you can see them. Okay. All right, our little scoop in the middle again, as you can see. I'm gonna tell you why in a minute, why I'm doing it in the middle. And these are nice and easy. As I said, you can bring them, you can have them done beforehand. You can have the chicken just there. You can put the chicken in a crock pot, and we could talk a little bit about how to do the tartlets ahead of time. So if you want people to make them, right out the trunk of your car at Tailgate, you could do that too. Okay, so next we have all of our chicken mixture now. It's already in the three different areas here. Remember, the bottom of our pan is nice and floured. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of egg wash around the bottom. Yes, the pan has already been floured and oiled. Okay, little bit. This is just one egg that I lightly beat. And we're going to take that and just put it on the ends of your puff pastry mixture, like so. All that's going to do is just help them stay a little closed. Keep that together. Might do a little bit on the ends, just in case. This mixture with the chicken, the cheese, the green onions, you can also put just a little bit of salt. I don't put too much because the barbecue sauce has salt, but a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You can do that as well. Once you take these, you can take it, put it in a crock pot. And like I said, you can make it while you're there, or just keep the mixture in the crock pot and bring some buns too, and do pulled chicken sandwiches. So same foundation. Okay, so we now have our tartlets. They're all set. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start from here, as you can see from the end, and you are just going to roll. So you can take it and fold. I'm saying roll, I mean fold. You're going to fold it in half. You can roll it actually, but that's kind of not the vision. You got to go with the vision. The vision is for you to hold it. So you're going to take it, fold it, and literally just fold it on the side. And then make sure that all around the ends, you're just taking your fingers like this and you're pinching to kind of tight seal it. So almost like a little pie. Okay, go all the way around, seal. Okay, got it. And if you want, you can take your ends and maybe make like a little design with your fork, like so. All I'm doing is taking the end of the fork and pressing along the end, like so. All the way around. Now, you'll see I have a little bit of room down here at the bottom, right? That is because sometimes the filling slides, it goes on a little journey while it's cooking. So if it's going to go on a little journey, you got to give it a little journey map and a way to go. So give it a little bit of room, okay? So just do that. And we're going to do the same thing with the other two. Take, fold in half again. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Fork, fork, fork. Okay. And done. Same kind of process. So while I do this next one, I'm going to turn it over to my awesome colleague, Jessica, who is going to share a little bit of her tailgate favorite. So Jessica, you are on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Powell, Penn State grad, 2003 College of Education. Thank you all for coming. So my family is from the Caribbean, so that is way further south. My mother is from Nevis and St. Kitts, and my father is from Jamaica. So we don't tailgate often or all, but our favorite go-to snack or meal are patties. And I think Jhan called it a meat pie before. And I was like, I've never heard it called a meat pie before. So my favorite actually are the vegetable patties, but the more common ones are chicken patties, and then the most popular one is the beef patties. So I actually got a few dozen here in a box. This is from my favorite bakery. If you're ever in New York, it's called Kingston Tropical Bakery. And I've been trying to make sure I had enough to show you guys because my daughter's been eating them one by one in the background.
So I can confirm they're delicious.
So they're delicious. And so the great thing about having these patties are, especially for tailgating, it's the most convenient meal that you can think of, right? So it's not messy, everything is inside. Fairly easy to make. Love something that's nice and flaky, like Jhan was saying, with pastries. And these are things that you can make ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and then pop them in the oven when it's time for tailgating. So these are the small versions. I think sometimes we're used to the big patties that you put inside some nice cocoa bread. It's nice, fluffy, and warm. But these are also great for tailgating. So that's my little addition for tailgating. Jhan?
Thank you, Jessica. Those sound really, really good. In Louisiana, we have a place called Natchitoches, and Natchitoches is known for their meat pies. But what Jessica just showed you is 10 times better. So thank you, Jessica. Okay, so our barbecue chicken tartlets are in the oven at 325. We're going to keep them in there about 20 minutes. So you won't see them again until towards the end of the show tonight. But we are going to move on to my Penn State blue crab dip. Now, I love anything crab meat, anything with crabs. When I was a little girl, my grandfather would take me crabbing sometimes with him. And then my dad also had a boat as well. And we would go fishing and crabbing, my sister and dad and I. So crabs kind of hold a special place in my heart. So I wanted to just share with you something that I make. Now, this blue crab dip, you can, like I said, you can make it at home and bring it with you to the tailgate. The good thing about it is it can be served either hot or cold. I tend to like it a little bit heated up, but it's up to you. It's kind of your choice. Now, what we'll start with is, yeah, blue and white crab dip, you're right. What we'll start with is our kind of heated pan here, not like too hot. I'm gonna just put a little bit of olive oil in, just a tad, not a whole lot, because we do have a little bit of a base that I'm going to also put in here. So just enough so that what I'm about to put in doesn't like stick to the pan. So don't do this too hot. I'm already feeling like my heat's a little bit more turned up than I would like. So I'm adjusting that a little bit. So we're going to start with our cream cheese. Now, it doesn't matter if you use regular cream cheese or light cream cheese. This is just an 8-ounce pack of cream cheese. And see, I'm already like hearing like a little bit of sizzle. So I'm gonna turn this down a bit. But what I wanna do is just have it kind of move around a bit. Again, not too hot. So I have it kind of turned down, just so that cream cheese can melt a little bit. So this is, like I said, an 8-ounce block. You want this room temp, if you can get it room temp, so that it's not too hot, or it's easier to kind of melt down a little bit here. So putting it in. Now, a couple of things that we're just going to literally throw in while our cream cheese is melting a bit. Now, we have some beautiful blue crab. This is actually claw crab. As I said in the ingredient list, you can use lump crab, you can use the claw crab like I'm doing, that's fine. Now, if you're like me and you sometimes like a little bit of variety, you can do a couple of things. You can not use crab at all for this and literally just go with shrimp and make a kind of shrimp dip with this. So you could do that also. You don't necessarily have to use crab if you don't want to. Okay, this is 1 pound. Yeah. So you could do this. I have the 8 ounces here, and you can put in another 8 ounces. I have like a second block as well. So you can put in 2. And I literally just have it room temp and just take it out the container and just put it in. So the crab dip, I've also done this, friends, with the crab and the shrimp as well. So more kind of a, what you might call a traditional, like a seafood dip. I've done both as well. So you can mix it up if you want to use more than one thing in your dish. You can certainly do that. The other addition that you can put in here is you can add a little bit of white wine. White wine does kind of elevate it a little bit. I just put in a little bit of olive oil to, again, reduce a little bit of the sticky. You can put in a little bit of white wine. That white wine will, again, elevate our main ingredient, which is our crab. So we don't want to put in too many things because for this particular dish, what I am going for is I want that crab taste and flavor really elevated. So I want to be able to really have people feel, experience, taste that crab. Okay, so we're getting this, the cream cheese kind of melted a little bit. And we're going to mix in the crab. Now, I use about a cup or so of crab. This, in this bowl, is a pound of the claw crab meat. Now, again, I don't want this too manipulated because I really want people to taste the crab. So I intentionally don't mix it up very, very much, just enough so that it's able to be incorporated in with our cream cheese. Okay, so now our cream cheese is starting to soften a little bit. We're blending in our crab. Just a mix. Okay. Now, I also want to now, I think we can put in a little bit more crab, my friends, because it's holding up pretty well to that cream cheese. So doing maybe another 1/4 of a cup. So now we're at like a cup and a 1/4 of crab meat. Okay. Okay. My heat, my friends, is on kind of low. Again, we don't want to burn it or have it overcook in any way. So all I'm doing is, if you can see, is just lightly folding. So taking rubber kind of spatula, like, and I'm doing almost like a little flip here and just lightly incorporating that crab in. So it's kind of folded. Okay. Now we're doing the bulk of the cooking here on the stove for this. Now you're going to, one of the things I need to tell you is this will finish in the oven. So we're just doing most of it here, but the oven is gonna just make all of those cheeses kind of blend and melt. Now, our good old friend green onion is back. We're gonna put a little bit more of green onion in here. I love having ingredients that I could use more than once. So this is one of them. So again, that's kind of to your taste and liking. And the other thing we're going to put a little bit of is seafood seasoning. This will, again, elevate that crab flavor really nicely for us. So just sprinkle some of that in. Okay. All right, let's go back to folding. So now we're going to incorporate our, again, we're doing our folding. Don't forget that part. Not a lot of manipulation. That crab with the seafood seasoning, the green onion, as well in there with the cream cheese. Okay. Now, the other thing we can put is a little bit, again, of the cheese that we put in the barbecue chicken. Now, what that will do is a couple of things. I like having similar flavor profiles so that when people are eating the tartlet and they're having this, they have that kind of familiar flavor taste in their mouths. I like that. So we're just going to put just a little bit of our Monterey Jack seasoning in our cheese in here, just to give it a little bit. Right? There we go. And nice little fold. Okay. Oh, I wish you could smell this. It smells really good. Okay, now, next, we're going to take this and put it in a dish. So I have here just a Pyrex dish, and we'll take our crab dip and fold it in here. So I can show you. And our dish has been, as you saw, greased for us pretty nicely. Okay, spread this out. Now, as you're doing this, two things. One is you could very well, depending on your taste and liking, you may decide, I want to put the whole 1 pound of crab in my dip because I'm a crabby person and that's how I roll. You could totally do that. You can put it all in if you want. If you decide to put all of this in, you can do one of 2 ways. You can make sure that that sour cream to crab ratio balances well enough for you. Some people actually just want more crab and less of that sour cream. If you do that, it's gonna feel less dippy, if that's a term. If it's not a term, let's, like, you and I can make it a term today, but it's gonna be less dippy. Okay, so, but if not, you could just put a little bit more of the cream in. Okay, so we have our dip already, and we could do 2 things at this point. We can put a little bit more of our cheese mixture on top, like so. Da, 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 da. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Okay, a whole lot of cheese if you're me. Let's see, was it sour cream or cream cheese that was melted? It was cream cheese, my friend. So you can put that in and you can pop this in the oven. Now, this is going to hang out. Oh, our tartlets look so good. Okay, this is gonna hang out with our barbecue chicken tartlets in the oven. Now, we just want that to brown. Now, some of you may want to sprinkle a little bit of panko on the top, just gives a little additional texture and additional mouthfeel to that particular dish. So you'll get a nice little crunch to that as well, but you don't have to do that. Now, if you decide that you don't want it heated because you're not going to be at home, you've already used your crock pot for the chicken things that I told you earlier, so you can't put it in there and bring it to the tailgate. Then what you can do is take it, put it in that dish, like I just showed you, pop it in the fridge. It is a very good cold, and you could serve it with crackers or whatever. So you have some options going there. Okay, so while we're getting ready for our next one, yes, it went in at 325 degrees and it just needs to stay in there until the cheese melts. So thanks, Melanie. Okay, so while that's cooking, I'm gonna turn it over to Mia and I'll be right back. Mia, you can take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mia Hines, and I graduated from Penn State College of Ed 2004. So what I would bring to Southern Tailgate is, in my house, sweet potato pie was a staple. And so the way that we can kind of bring it to Tailgate is you can make it, or you can go and grab you a Patti LaBelle sweet potato pie. For those of you that have never had it, you got to try it. She makes great pies. And what I did here is I just like cut it into a little circle. So it just miniature little pies, and bring you some whipped cream, put it in the cooler, and voila, you can have it during tailgating. So sweet potato pie, for those that love it, it is a definite staple in the African-American household in the Southern world. So turning it back over to you, Jhan.
Thank you, Mia. Okay. I'm a big fan of sweet potato pie. My grandmother made a really good one. So she handed her sweet potato pie recipe down to me. So it's one of my favorite things to bake. So thank you, Mia. Thanks for sharing that one. Okay. So while our barbecue chicken tartlets are in the oven and getting ready because we're about to have kickoff on our game coming up. And our blue crab dip is already in the oven. We are now going to work on our praline pecans. Now, being from New Orleans and from the South, there's probably nothing more Southern than a good old pecan. So these are halved pecans. I typically like roasting any kind of nut, really, before I use them. Roasting them in the oven, just a little bit of, you toss them with a little bit of olive oil and pop them in the oven. It just elevates that pecan nutty flavor when you roast them first. So again, remember our main ingredients and how we're going to highlight them, right? So for this, of course, it's our pecans. So we're going to come do some things that are really going to kind of elevate this and make them good. Now, one of the main things we'll do is, this is 2/3 cup of dark brown sugar. Now, you could use dark brown sugar, you can use light brown sugar, it's up to you. I tend to like dark for this particular snack, only because it has that kind of deep molasses-like taste and flavor to it. So in your bowl, you're gonna just literally do the 2/3 cup of the dark brown sugar. This is 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. And you'll take these two and just mix it. So blend in the dark brown sugar and the granulated sugar. You're not going to believe how easy this recipe is. Okay, and then we have our pecans. So this is about maybe 2 cups of halved pecans. Now, keep in mind, whenever you're using pecans, make sure that they're not salted or have any seasonings or anything like that on them. It's gonna muddy your flavor profile, right? And so you wanna make sure that it doesn't have any other like duck on it. So just do that. Now, the only thing we're going to add to our pecans is literally just 1 egg white. So this is just an egg white in my little dish here. So take that and just pour the egg white on the pecans, or over the pecans, and then just blend that around so that the pecans get kind of coated with the egg white mixture. You're gonna see it's not gonna be like this super heavy coating, but just enough, just a lightness. We're doing that so that our sugar mixture actually sticks to the pecans. Okay, so I'm gonna take these. We've mixed in our 1 egg white and gonna dump them in here. Yes, thank you for saying that. Your egg needs to be room temp. So if you're like me, you have all of this stuff like all set up. It's kind of like a kitchen organization station, right? So you're gonna already have your cream cheese out. You're going to have your puff pastry, because that needs to be room temperature too. And you're gonna crack that egg and put that over here, or put your egg white somewhere. And you're gonna crack the egg to border that puff pastry too. So kind of set like a 1 hour time before you're about to cook, and just have those things out. If you're somebody like me that so desires to always have things so very organized in my life, and it doesn't work out all the time, then just make sure you do the stuff before you're about to cook. Then it'll just help you out. But I know the goal is to have it done an hour at a time. Okay, so now that we have both things blended, right? We have our egg white and our pecans, and we have our brown sugar and our granulated sugar all set to go. All you're doing is dumping it too. So you mix in those pecans with the brown sugar and just mix it so that the brown sugar mix and the pecans are all covered. When if you don't want to use egg, again, you're kind of watching dairy or trying to do a more gluten-free option, don't forget what I told you a little bit earlier with the egg for the chicken tartlet. You can use the water from the chickpea juice, and it behaves pretty much the same way. Okay, so I'm mixing these in, making sure all of that brown sugar is covered. When I was a kid, my mom owned a daycare center, childhood learning center, and in the back was a pecan tree. And I used to love going back there in the backyard and grabbing a couple of pecans and eating them. It's just something about a pecan fresh from the tree that it's just nothing like it. So thanks, Mom. Good memory. So we're gonna take this. This is all nice and blended. And next we have a sheet tray. And this is just a plain sheet tray that is covered with parchment paper. Gonna take our pecans and spread these out like so. Don't worry if you have like just clumps of awesome brown sugar just oozing on the side. It's fine. It'll find a home somewhere. Just put it in. And you want to make sure what you're seeing me do here, my friends, is all I'm doing is just kind of patting this down so that the pecans are actually touching that parchment paper because we want them to get in there pretty well. Okay, and I'm putting these in. Okay. And while those are in there cooking, I'm gonna turn it over to Krishana and I'll show you how all of this comes together. Krishana, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Krishana Goins. I'm a 2019 graduate of the College of Education, and I am a current student studying social studies education through World Campus. I know for me, I come from an RV tailgating family, so we take tailgating very seriously. And besides for great food, I don't know about you, but we like to set up a great bar outside of Beaver Stadium. And one thing that's really important to us is always kind of using those BIPOC brands and supporting small and up and coming businesses. So if you're looking for how to set up your next kind of Penn State tailgate bar, here are some great brands that you can try that we love. There's Honey Saison beer, there's Crown and Hops IPA. We love Black Mama's vodka. You can mix it with anything to make an awesome blue and white drink. St. Cloud bourbon and 10-to-1 rum. So those are great to put on your list to make your next Penn State cocktail, to kind of maybe ease some of your nerves before our next game. Back to you, John.
Okay, thank you, Krishana. So now that we've had our our tartlets are in the oven. They just got done. Our crab dip is done. Let me show you how to plate this. Now, I have my good old blue Penn State plates. And here's your tartlet. Now, as you can see, like I told you, it's got like a little bit of room going there. The same oven, the temp for the pralines is the same for the dip and for the tartlets is 325. I tend to like to keep my oven temps the same. So you have your chicken tartlet here. As you can see, it's kind of big, right? So, but it's enough for like a nice handheld size for someone. Now, once you see it, what you're looking for is how do you know it's done? It's got a little bit of that nice golden brown. And then on the bottom, see, just a little bit of brown on the bottom and that nice kind of flaky, puffy exterior to it. So we have our real football tart. Your pralines typically are going to, the praline pecans are going to cook for roughly 20, 30 minutes. Once we hit 15 minutes, you're going to go in and toss those around and then stick them back in for another 15. But I'll show you before then. Okay, so you have these. Now, let's look at our dip. So our crab dip, just enough to have that cheese kind of melted for us here. And let me tell you how I plate that. So you can get these from any kind of local party store in your area, or even your drugstore may carry these. And they're just little cups. So what I do, regular old spoon, is just take the dip, make sure people get some cheese in there, put some dip into the container like that. And the advantage of this kind of dip is it's so rich that you don't have to worry about this, is that enough? That's small. No, look, you got some dip. Now go be happy. You got some in here that's enough, and it's really kind of rich enough for people. So it really kind of works. But here's the other thing. I bought just a baguette, a French baguette from the store, and just took the baguette and sliced it. And then just put a little bit of olive oil on it and popped it in the oven for 15 minutes till it got like kind of nice and brown. And then that's it. And you take that and stick it in, and that's the treat for somebody. And then the same container you take and you do your pecans as well. So on people's plates, they have pecans and a little bit of the crab dip and a really good football tart. So I hope that you enjoyed all of our dishes today. Don't forget that we will be sending you all of these and you'll be able to watch the video. So you can hang out with the C Network again. But on behalf of Mia, Jessica, Krishana, Nuria Diallo, all of us, the whole team, we want to thank you for hanging out with us, and we hope that you enjoyed your time with us tonight, and go State. So we'll turn it back over to Melody and the rest of the team if there are any other questions.
We do have a few more questions.
Go for
And
it.
I hope I can get through them without stuttering because my mouth is watering right now, watching you cook all of this. One of the questions we have, since our pralines are still in the oven, how
Mhm.
long should we leave those going?
No more, my friends, than 30 minutes. So you have about maybe 20 minutes left on those. So
Great.
once you hit the 15-minute mark, I'm gonna pull those out, toss them again, pop them back into the oven for them to cook another 15 minutes.
Great. We have one more question. Can the tarts be cut in half for serving without falling apart? And that might depend on if they use the puff pastry or the pie crust.
Yes. So yes, you can definitely cut them in half and have those so that and I'm gonna show you. So you'll see here, I'm lifting it up. Oh, so many flakes, everybody. I'm sorry, this is so good. But you could definitely do it so that you can have these and it'll just be like that half size if you want. The only thing I would suggest is if you want to go that route, just make sure that you have enough of that barbecue chicken filling in there. So remember, we said roughly that was 2 tablespoonfuls of filling. If you're going to do the half like this, then I would just add another tablespoon so that you can spread that out.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we want to add cinnamon to the pecans, when would you add the cinnamon?
Great. So you put the cinnamon in with the sugar. Now, 2 things for you on the cinnamon. One, you can just put in good old cinnamon and you'll be fine. Another option is Chipotle cinnamon. So Chipotle cinnamon is great because you can, it's actually good for like a rub. This is Chipotle cinnamon. It's actually good for a good rub, but you can also just put that in if you want, just a little bit of heat, a little bit of kind of kicking it up for your pecans.
Great. We have one more question. Can we store the tarts for a day or two once they're baked?
Yes. So bake them, put them in a container. I have this one if I'm getting ready for the tailgate. Tarts go in and I can literally just take it like this and pop that in the refrigerator, and the day before or I meant the day of, literally, I can heat this up. If you still think you want these hot or heated, another option is you could just get a skillet. And if you have your portable like stove out at tailgate, you can just put these in a skillet and just heat the bottom. Or even just put these in a crock pot and heat them up.
Well, Jhan, thank you so much. And to all of our other participants tonight, we want to thank everybody so much for your time. For those that cooked along tonight, make sure you tag the Alumni Association on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to see your finished products. And I also wanted to share that Jhan and the C Network were gracious enough to host another cooking class for us over the summer for We Are Weekend. That was a New Orleans themed menu and it was absolutely amazing. I'm going to drop the link to the recording in the chat. So that way, if you're interested, you can check that out. We'll send out the recipes, the recording from tonight's event, the recording from the We Are Weekend New Orleans cooking. We'll send all of that out tomorrow. So you will be getting copies of the recording. Once again, thank you so much for participating. And thank you to Jhan and our other participants. And we are
Penn State. Bye, everybody.